DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy, family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574 today. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into Bills Weekly here on FingerLakes1.com. We have a victory Monday, but it wasn't pretty. It was ugly, but survive in advance. We'll get into all that. Paul Russo here, Jim Sinicropi, Kyle Evans. Discuss, obviously, that Patriots game, the win there. Look ahead to Week 17, home finale in the regular season coming up on deck as well. So we'll get to all that and more, but first, thank a couple more of our sponsors, including Cicino's Pizzeria and Restaurant. You can visit Cicino's Pizzeria and Restaurant at their original Waterloo location or all-new renovated location in Geneva. Dine-in, takeout, delivery, catering, and banquets you can order online at Cicinos.com. Live, laugh, and eat well. It's the Italian way. And Dewey's Tavern, within walking distance from downtown Seneca Falls, just across the Bridge Street Bridge. Play quick draw lottery and 19 televisions for all your sporting events. Great food for lunch or dinner. Bocce, dart, and pool leagues as well. You can check them out online at deweysthirdward.com. All right, guys. So, winning ugly was the name of the game last night. Colder than even advertised, and we were here last week for the game. So, you never know what can kind of happen in weather games and in a way. I will say this. It definitely caught me off guard, though, the Patriots jumping out 14-0. It caught me off guard. But obviously the Bills able to rebound and get the win, and
thanks to some turnovers. I mean, it was closer than it needed to be, and certainly a couple things went the other way. The Bills could have easily lost that game at home to Drake May. I mean, it wasn't too encouraging of a game.
Yeah, and their worst offensive performance since, I would say, October when they played the Jets, only scored 23. Josh Allen just looked off. Receivers weren't really getting open. Looked like earlier in the year, I remember that Texans-Ravens stretch where the receivers just weren't helping Allen get open, and the defense struggled early on but settled down, and just a weird game. But I think Jim said it for at least the last several weeks that he thought all along it was going to be a tight, close game, divisional opponent, and it certainly was. And to me, it looked like a Chiefs game, winning ugly, and they've done a lot of that this year.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to kind of get to that. Jim was loud right in this game for sure.
At least they won.
That's true. I
did think they'd win, but ugly win.
But you had the scouting report. You had the script, as they would say, as in the NFL now for the game. So offensively, it was pretty much, frankly, I thought the James Cook show for majority of the game. You can make the case it was kind of just the running backs maybe in general in the overall sense, but James Cook really, again, kind of had a nice don't forget about me kind of game in a way.
Yeah, and how do we forget about him? How do we forget about this guy? He's the 2 touchdowns Sunday gave him 16, tied for the most among all players in the NFL with Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
So, James Cook is probably the most I don't want to say underrated, but underappreciated, especially on a national level when you talk about stars in this league. But he also moved into second place in Bills history for the most scores in a single season.
Yeah, they showed an interesting graphic about coming into the year 4 total touchdowns, period, which was kind of crazy. I remember we were sitting here last year doing this podcast. I'm sitting here even at the time. I'm like, he shows everything that he can be, that franchise guy, franchise running back that you can kind of turn to and everything. And this year has been the numerically showing that for the national audience, like you mentioned, Jim.
I mean, if you ask any football fan who has the most touchdowns in the NFL this year, you'll probably hear people spout out 8 to 10 different names before they even come up with James Cook.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned Chase, and I mean, there'd probably be, dare I say, people would probably say like 10 different running backs before they maybe even get to James
Saquon
Cook.
Barkley, Derrick Henry. I mean, you name it. Those, I'm trying. There's probably nobody on the Chiefs maybe that would get brought
not
up
this year, no.
but
Kyron Williams, maybe? 'Cause he
yeah,
scores a
Kyron
lot.
Williams. I mean, thinking about some other wide receivers maybe that could get named, but he's not a top of mind guy because even the national media doesn't treat him that way. But here we are.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of. I'd say maybe outside Josh Allen, that's the case as well. I mean, just period. I mean, we talk about Shakir a lot on here anyway, but
He didn't catch the ball very.
Well, no, I know. Yesterday's not the best example of it, but like they even brought up in the broadcast how like he was kind of like this guy that nobody kind of thought of, and I'm just like kind of sitting here going like, for all the love that CBS has recently and the media as a whole has been giving the Bills, right? Like it's kind of crazy that it's very much so one channel down on like Josh Allen and nobody else.
Yeah, he's the Puka Nakua of of the Bills for the Bills. But yeah, I mean they're Josh Allen centric, especially with Diggs gone. That's fine. Nothing wrong with flying under the radar, but just point out in a game like yesterday, James Cook was the reason they won.
Yeah. Offensively, yeah.
And
I want to give
turnovers on the defense.
Yeah, I want to give kudos to the defense here because we'll get more into them anyway, a little bit once again. But again, beat up, and they just, I mean, frankly, outside the first couple drives, just played phenomenal. I mean, I know, like you said, Jim, the turnovers obviously help by whatever, but defensive touchdown as well. I mean, they kept them in it. They are the reason, outside of one or two guys on the offensive end, that the Bills come away, and we're talking on Victory Monday as opposed to wondering how in the hell did the Bills lose to this, what would have been a 4-11 at this time then, New England Patriots team.
Yeah, the first two possessions, they just rolled down the field. It looked very easy. And then they settled in. They stopped them 7 straight possessions, 3 of them being 3 straight turnovers, which helped the Bills big time. That defensive score that led to a touchdown was huge. And yeah, I mean, Drake May does deserve credit, though. He is a rookie, and, the Bills shouldn't have problems with him like they did, but I think he's going to be good, and he made some good plays. He scrambled around. He kind of looked like a young Josh Allen, honestly. It looked like Allen, in his rookie second year, kind of running around, making, plays that stand out, that say, wow, this guy's going to be good, and the Bills are going to see this guy for a long time. But yeah, I was overall pleased with the defense, the way it settled in. And yeah, the injuries, man, they're killing them right now, but I think the good thing is, they're going to have some rest probably coming up if they lock in that 2 seed probably even as early as Christmas, Wednesday. So hopefully that'll help get their defense ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, Douglas, Rapp, Milano, all could be back,
Yep.
which will be helpful. And you're right, so the Bills are 2 games behind the Chiefs right now, but they have the tiebreaker. So they need the Chiefs to lose both their last games, and the Bills need to win their last 2 games for there to be a AFC Championship game in Buffalo, and also for the Bills to get a bye, which we talk about these injuries, that would always help too. But it's possible the Chiefs play at the Steelers on 5 days rest.
I mean, yeah.
And then at the Broncos in the last week. Those are both,
well, really 4 days rest.
Yeah, those are both games that certainly the Chiefs could lose. I mean, the Steelers are kind of coming off another tough loss, should be ready to go. It's home, it's at Pittsburgh, and it's at Denver. It's like not out of the realm of possibility to see the Chiefs' good fortune of winning close games come to an end here and see them drop 2 games in a row, and then the Bills sneak in. I would give it a 20% chance.
The window's there. Yeah, I mean, look, the Chiefs are the prime example of it, right? They're playing 3 games in 11 days, obviously culminating on Wednesday, on Christmas Day. And from the football perspective of it, like, that's just insane. But
it should never happen. NFL should never have a team do that. That's ridiculous.
But looking at it from obviously our Bills' perspective here, this would be the prime example of like the numbers would catch up to the Chiefs. You would imagine if there was ever going to be a day, it'd be Wednesday, and that 20% at that point, Jim probably shoots closer to maybe a true 50-50 going into Week 18. You never know.
Yeah, or at least maybe it gets into the final week. Maybe the Steelers do help out this week. The Bills win their game. But say the Chiefs win and the Texans beat the Ravens, then the Bills are pretty much locked in as the 2 seed.
Sit everybody, right? Wouldn't you?
Yeah, or at least maybe play a few of the starters and take them out early or something like that. Because because I hear this a lot. Maybe too much rest could hurt them. Rust. If they go and sit 2 weeks and get that whole week of practice, just kind of a long layoff. But maybe they will do it.
But on the other hand, you saw Allen when he got up shaking his right hand yesterday, and you're like, oh boy, how would you feel if he had a more serious injury in a game that literally didn't matter?
Yeah, I'm still a little worried about it. He hit his elbow. I mean, you worry about the ligaments inside.
He said it was like a funny bone deal.
Yeah, he said he couldn't feel his hand for 5-10 minutes. I get the cold weather didn't help either, but when the injury report comes out first thing on Tuesday, they'll at least have to list him on there because it is an injury. But we'll see, if his throws are limited all week. But yeah, not good that it's his throwing hand too.
Yeah.
Well, he had the headlines surrounding Allen's health again this week were kind of funny. Obviously, I don't think we knew that it was necessarily a broken left hand he's been dealing with, but he's had what I've called the hockey style glove on his left hand all year. And someone, I think it was Rappaport, right, who initially broke it yesterday. The news, not Josh's hand. I kind of was sitting there going like, well, yeah, I mean, if you've been paying attention all year, you noticed that something was clearly up. Like, this isn't new news in that sense of like, yeah, no kidding. But obviously,
if Josh Allen could have his left arm cut off, and I probably wouldn't worry about him. I think he'd be fine. But when I saw him get up with that throwing hand, that was a little more concerning.
Yeah.
But certainly the tough one of, if not the toughest quarterback in the NFL.
The good thing is, while that was happening, is when the Bills got that defensive score, so he didn't have to come right back out.
Yeah.
So it gave him a little bit more time to, come back. But
which was just a total gift.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at teams like New England to be in games like this and make mistakes like that, and it's just, just kind of wonder, how like, is it good fortune for the Bills? It wasn't necessarily something that they forced. It's just a screw up by New England, winning and losing so close in the NFL, and you see a play like that, or like
the interception in the end zone.
In the end zone, like that was the Bills
close.
Were in trouble at that point.
Yep.
Again, I know. Look, we're Bills Weekly. We aren't NFL Weekly. Why did he run it out of the end zone?
Yeah, right.
I mean, my football me fist was in the air, just like, what are you doing?
There were so many fumbles yesterday, throughout the league.
Yeah.
Guys ripping it out, punching it out, guys just dropping it. The Tampa Bay game was the epitome of it. It's a Sunday night game last night where Dallas beat Tampa.
Yeah, it seems like punches are happening way more this year. I don't know if you guys are picking that up on all these games. Maybe that's like an emphasis in practice all week.
Yeah, defense.
Because it's tough to score in this league, and if you can get a punch out, that's huge.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every broadcast I hear Peanut Tillman mention once. Modern-wise, he was the one who kind of popularized it. I know there are people going way back into the 60s and 70s who were doing that anyway, but for the sake of whatever, the play-by-play and color commentators really go to Peanut Tillman for it. But, yeah, I mean, either way, let's focus back in here. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest. Anyway, yeah, it's one of those things where I kind of want to go to that luck thing. I know this might dip in a little bit to looking ahead to the Jets, but like you look at like the Jets, for example, and I wouldn't say they necessarily had momentum yesterday against the Rams, but like you look at how that game shook out, and you look at the comments at the end again, and it's kind of hard not to maybe kind of look at like what's the Bills kind of have had happen all year for them, and kind of going into these last couple of weeks, it's like they really do have like a nice road kind of paid for them at the moment to at least not mess it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, the Jets have done this a lot. They strike early, they score in the first quarter, and they don't score an offensive touchdown again. Aaron Rodgers, was dancing after that 7-0 or 6-0 lead. They missed the extra point. And then they don't score again, and it's just unbelievable. Again, you look at the weapons. The Rams, had to go to a different coast. They looked, very slow to start off, especially offensively, and they only ended up with 19 points. And the Jets can't beat them.
One, yeah. The Jets with all that offensive firepower.
Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Alan Lazard's back.
Yeah, they're a joke.
It's crazy.
They're a joke.
Yeah, and then I know because early window was nice because I got to go back and forth between a couple games. And there was one time where I don't know if there was a miscommunication that they didn't call a timeout or what, but and then again, Rodgers post game just throwing everybody but himself under the bus. Fantastic stuff. I think it bodes well for Sunday for Buffalo, obviously. But
well, the Bills will know by then if the Chiefs won or lost, obviously. And if the Chiefs lose, that's a game you got to win. And it's not going to be easy. They never have an easy time against the Jets.
Yeah. I think no matter what, I think you're going to see everybody play pretty much the whole game this week in that sense. To go back to something.
Baltimore too plays on Christmas, so let's say Baltimore loses and the Chiefs win. Why would the Bills even bother risking anybody being injured? It's going to be cold again. I don't know how cold or how snowy, but
to bring up something Kyle brought up, and I agree with this. The resting is a double-edged sword in my mind. I fully support doing it, but there's a certain timeline where I think rust is a very real thing.
I don't think that at all. I think that's why you see teams perform better when they come off of bye weeks. So treat it like a bye week, I mean, some guys are going to be playing, obviously, but I don't see any. The only thing that could really derail this team right now, would be 2 straight losses and to lose that number 2 seed, but it would be, a major injury to someone like Shakir or Allen or Cook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
or more defensive injuries.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't disagree. I mean, I think there's some underreported stuff too going on for the Bills. I mean, just for an example, Spencer Brown was wearing a cowboy collar yesterday because of his neck, and he's been dealing with.
He could use a week off.
Yeah, I mean,
2 weeks off.
I think there's a lot of guys that could use obviously a couple more than.
You earned it at this point.
days.
If you get to the point here where you're locked into the 2 seed, you've earned it. So take advantage of it and get healthy. And they're going to come to play in the playoffs. I mean, Josh Allen will make sure of that.
Yeah.
I mean, even Josh Allen, a more healthy Josh Allen, that's scary. If I'm any of the other teams in the AFC playoffs.
Yeah, Dorian Williams and Balin Spector also playing hurt. Williams had that big, kind of like a guard on his elbow.
He had a good game.
Yeah, yeah, and I think Micah Hyde is a guy that we'll see maybe possibly in the next 2 weeks. Just suit up, let the other guys, get off their feet. Taylor Rapp is still out. I think he could have played if it was like a playoff game.
Mar Hamlin too. We haven't brought him up yet either.
Yeah, so maybe we'll just see a little bit of like I said, maybe the starters will play a little bit and then they'll rest, or maybe they won't play at all, or maybe they'll all play this week and not play next week. There's a lot of different things that could happen, but it's going to be hard to make predictions and bet on games like this until we know, how it's going to play out.
It would be nice if the Steelers beat the Chiefs and the Bills had that hope. Then next week's a regular game like any other game.
Yep.
But then I don't know what the final week schedule looks like. Who plays first, the Broncos or the Broncos Chiefs or the Bills Patriots? But because they haven't even announced the game times yet for that New England game.
Yeah, it could still be technically Saturday, I think. So
yeah. So, anyways, that's a whole age-old debate. If you got your position locked up in any sport, do you rest your starters?
Yeah, and we all got pretty much different viewpoints on it. So, but you can only control what you can control, and that's, like you said, Jim, the main thing, right? Don't know what the hell's going to technically happen yet.
Yep, we'll wait and see on Christmas Day how the Chiefs do. But boy, a big Bills fan should really be rooting for the Steelers.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull up the schedule here for week 18, technically, I suppose.
Yeah, there's no times.
Yeah.
like there
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And Week 18 games cannot be on Saturday. It's only for Week 16 and 17.
Oh, I thought they were.
And if there's like divisional things still on the line, they schedule the games at the same time. So
right.
for the 1 seed, they'll be at the same time. So I think if the Bills are still alive and the Chiefs are still alive, they'll have those games at 4:25.
No doubt.
The big window, with lots on the line. But there's also like the NFC. What is it? The NFC West is still up. The NFC North. There's a bunch of different matchups that are still.
Yeah, between well, a lot depends on what happens this week, but Texans, Broncos, Chargers, Colts, Bengals, Dolphins are all teams that have a path still.
And remember, Cincinnati is very much alive, and they still play Denver, and Denver also plays the Chiefs. So if Denver loses out and Cincinnati wins out, all of a sudden, I think one other thing that might have to happen, but all of a sudden Cincinnati gets in the playoffs. And I get their defense is awful, but with their offense, no team's going to want to see them.
Yeah, and for that, they play Saturday this week. Chargers play the Patriots Saturday at 1. Broncos Bengals is 4:30 on Saturday. Then, NFC West game wraps it up at 8 o'clock. Cardinals Rams, but you'll have almost a 24-hour window to know what's going on, at least with that one area anyway.
Yeah, so there's a probably crazy percentage, very low, under 10, that the Bills, if they get the number 2 seed and the Bengals get in at the 7 seed, they're hosting Cincinnati on Wild Card Weekend, which would be a rematch of the 2022 divisional playoff game when the Bills lost 27-10. So yeah, a lot could still happen yet.
And then the Dolphins are at Cleveland this weekend. Just going through the quick Rolodex here of.
But that's what makes this
that
so
type
fun.
Of stuff. So
Colts, Bengals, Dolphins need help.
Yeah.
So if Texans, Broncos, Chargers win their games, it's not looking good for the rest of those teams I just mentioned. But
Colts at least got the Giants.
It's crazy. Yeah. What did they jump out to a 7-0 lead and give up 34 unanswered yesterday?
Yeah. Let us not forget I was beyond confident on our betting podcast of Giants +9. So.
Oh, that's right. Tried to warn you on that one.
Yeah. But pick sixes will do that to you. Anyway.
2 of them.
Yeah.
For the Falcons.
Yeah, it was backbreaking for me, to say the least there. So, let's do a quick look ahead here anyway of the actual matchup that we care most about, Jets and Bills. On Sunday here, 1 o'clock CBS game. Let me see if I can get to the weather here. There we go. Showing 44 and clear, though.
Yeah, it's supposed to warm up a little bit after Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah. They're saying a front from the Pacific Northwest swooping in.
It would be nice to get, more moderate temperatures
By the way, not to interrupt. I get it. Fandom inherently makes you do crazy things. Please, I cannot stress enough, just be smart in these cold weather conditions, people. For the love of all things holy, I saw too many shirtless people yesterday.
And they don't feel anything. They're too drunk to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I bet you that wasn't what they were doing.
They're feeling it today.
They were probably doing the old Vaseline trick, I'm guessing.
What, you put Vaseline on it makes you not cold?
Yeah, like it insulates your body or whatever. I don't know if it's Vaseline or it's one of those substances. But anyway, we're looking like at least better weather for the fans and certainly the players this upcoming Sunday. This is a Jets team that's, Kyle, you've brought it up a ton on here recently. It's given this Bills team some trouble here the past handful of years when it really probably shouldn't necessarily be the case.
Yeah, I went through and did some research a week ago, and the Bills 4 of the last 5 meetings have been 1-score games. The Bills have won 3 of the last 4 and 7 of the last 9, but again, it's been so many tight games. Remember last year they dropped their season opener in New Jersey, losing to the Jets.
Even though Aaron Rodgers got hurt in the first play.
Yeah, something about their defense just gives the Bills trouble, and based on what we just saw against New England, I mean, they couldn't get separation. Hopefully that's not the case again, because if so, we might have an upset on our hands, which is crazy because, again, the Jets can't score. It's wild.
It's going to be an ugly game, I think, again, just like this one was this past week. I think the Bills will win it if they need it. I think if the Chiefs do lose, on Christmas Day. Our Chiefs do win on Christmas Day. I think the Bills will be a little less motivated. I mean, let's face it. They came out against New England, and they were like, whatever. Like, I don't care. You can say all you want. You're coming off huge game against Detroit. 4 huge games in a row, really. Kansas City, San Francisco, LA, and Detroit. And then you got the Patriots, the 3-11 Patriots coming in, and it's like, bah. And that's what it looked like. And this will be similar. I mean, I think they might have a little more of a rivalry feel with the Jets, even though they're both obviously division rivals. This particular Jets team, I think, would be a team that the Bills would like to beat maybe more than the Drake May Patriots. But yeah, it's probably going to be another awful, low-scoring, ugly game that I think if the Bills need it, that they will pick off the win.
Yeah, I got some more information quick on the Jets. They're 2-6 on the road. Mm-hmm. They're 1-3 in the AFC East, and they've given up 25 or more points in 5 of the last 6 games. So at one point, their defense was a strength. Mm-hmm. Not anymore.
I was about to say their defense is also banged up pretty good as well at the moment. So
and their offense certainly isn't a strength, even though you wonder how it possibly can't be.
Yeah.
With that personnel.
Yeah. Well, egos.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's just a weird thing that happened to the Bills this year with the scheduling, having these 3 crap division games, to end their season.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's in Buffalo and not in New York. But, if you're the Jets, too, you're motivated to play spoiler here and defeat your division rival.
And Aaron Rodgers wants to go out on a high note and try to come back and let the owner know that he's still capable of playing.
Well, luckily or unluckily for him, Woody Johnson apparently trusts the Madden ratings for
his son,
for what to do. Yeah,
16-year-old son or whatever.
Yeah, do a quick little look here. Obviously, Vegas knows. Line opened at 9.5. Now already moved to 10.
Wow.
So, interesting there. I find more interesting the over/under line at 47.5. It opened at that, and it's down a whole point to 46.5.
Yeah, it's going to be a low-scoring, close game. Take the Jets in the under.
Whoa. Yeah, I mean, if it's any indication from this week, and it's tough, you guys both said it, not knowing fully what might happen here, it's tough to gauge. And so the betting perspective is obviously going to have to be, you're probably going to have to hold the hand until at least you get through Wednesday to fully see the seeding picture anyway. I don't know if it necessarily sways how I view this game. Look, if Mitch Trubisky is out there playing quarterback 75% of the game, for example, Saturday, probably am just going to go straight up Jets if I'm being completely honest. But it's going to be tough to tell. I mean, that's the issue with
out
this.
There, you probably won't see Cook. You probably won't see a lot of the defensive starters.
Quentin Morris minutes incoming.
Another game, by the way, where Amari Cooper was like not even there. It seemed like he wasn't even there.
Yeah, 1 catch for 10 yards. I think he had a couple other targets.
Keon Coleman had 1 nice catch.
Yep, downfield a little bit.
Shakir was dropping balls, but this Cooper thing just isn't working out so good.
Yeah, it's weird. Health has been a problem, but now he's been on the field 2 straight weeks, and he's like not noticeable. I don't even know if you'd want to rest him though, even if the other guys are not playing, because he needs to be out there and getting reps, or something's not right with his game right now.
Or it's a situation where we get into the playoffs and the Bills show something different that they haven't shown for a while. Like, teams will do that sometimes.
Yeah, Josh Allen hinted at that yesterday. I don't know if you saw it in his press conference. He kind of hinted towards they're not showing everything in their playbook.
Okay.
I don't know the exact quote. I'll have to probably tell you off air if I find it. But yeah, he kind of hinted that they still have extra things that they could do, but they don't want to expose or something. Because they know the number 1 seed is still up for play, and the playoffs are coming. I don't know. I'll have to find it when.
I mean, they busted out a couple halfback directs yesterday with movement on shotgun, so not truly under center, that I haven't seen them do this year really at all. So, I mean, I'm sure every football team's got book depth in that sense, but I'm sure they got some stuff hidden underneath that they haven't fully shown yet either. Yeah, I don't want to say because I definitely don't disagree with you guys with Cooper, obviously. It's just that I don't know if yesterday's a great example given, I mean, James Cook was your leading receiver yardage-wise. Kincaid was your leader in targets.
You go back to the Detroit game where they put up 48 points and Cooper didn't do anything. Yeah. I mean, he was brought on to be like their star number one receiver type of guy, and he's not even.
It goes back to something I asked last week. I feel like, which is, is he just not latching onto the book? Is there something we just aren't seeing behind the scenes? You know, like. Now knock on the guy because I like the guy, but like Mac Collins is still being your number 2 in terms of wide receiver. You know, like what's going on here?
I have the quote quick. He said, "As an offense, it's how much are we wanting to show? Are we wanting to go extreme and show everything in our arsenal? There's a line that you got to toe, but at the end of the day, you just want to go 1-0 each week and find a way to win against these guys."
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're not purposely, I don't know, but Amari Cooper's if they're gonna win a Super Bowl, Amari Cooper's gonna have to have some 4 or 5 catch games,
and he probably will. We're probably talking about this, and all of a sudden they'll be going off in the playoffs.
That's kind of how I feel about it.
That's why I don't even really take much away from this being a close game. Like,
as long as this game, even the Jets game, and then who cares? Let's get to the playoffs.
We won't even remember this.
Suck.
Yeah,
they really do.
Yeah, I mean,
only bad things can happen.
I mean, I view Week 18 that way. I don't know if I necessarily view this week outright still that way, but yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, I let off it with survive in advance more or less at this point, where it's like, just get week to week and get ready for the second season.
Yeah, remember the Texans-Ravens game? People were kind of overanalyzing how the Bills played and how they're going to be moving forward. And look, what do they win 7 in a row? And
we did it on here pretty much.
Yeah, they're 12-3 now. I mean, it's just can't really take as an analyzer, I guess, on a TV network, that's your job. But us, we don't really have to go overreact to it.
No, I mean, those are shocking, though, because they started out 3-0, and then they got killed both games. Both were 2-score.
I mean,
the Baltimore Ravens routed the Bills.
If there was a game in that early window that we probably should have really done some overreacting to, it was probably that first Jets game where it's unnecessarily close the whole time,
23-10 coming off those 2 losses, and then after there, the Bills just didn't look back. They beat Tennessee, Seattle, Miami, Colts, Kansas City, San Francisco, lost to the Rams, beat Detroit, beat New England. So, yeah, this isn't a Bills team that's bulletproof. It's they're going to need to play well to achieve their ultimate goal.
And I think this year there is no team in the NFL that is bulletproof. There's been,
except for the Chiefs, as bad as they've looked, they've only got 1 loss.
11-0 in 1-score games.
Yeah, come on,
Saturday.
I trust my numbers. They will come back to earth somehow, some way, sometime.
Well, if that's true, then it should be this week against the Steelers on short rest, and then maybe against the Broncos too, both at Mile High. Those are tough places to play, both of them, and both games are going to mean something for the teams they're playing. And if what you say is true, then it should even out. The law of averages should kick in, and the Chiefs should lose to the Steelers, and then the Bills all of a sudden got that glimmer of hope for home. It's all, to me, the bye is nice, obviously, but it's about that home game in the AFC Championship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where they're 7-0 now at home, or is it? Yeah, 7-0.
Yep, their 3 losses were all on the road.
Yep.
So it's important.
Exactly. Yeah. So, all right. Let's get into some outright prediction times then for Sunday, even though we've been kind of talking about how it's not going to be easy here.
Really hard game to predict because you don't know the frame of mind the Jets are going to be in.
You know what frame of mind the Bills are even going to be in at that point, really, technically. So, look, I'm going to base mine on the assumption that no matter what, we're going to see a lot of the starters still. That being said, I'm going to go Bills 28, Jets 17.
You're funny. You get close to my predict. I just wrote this down before you said that.
Sure.
Bills 27, Jets 17. 1 point off.
Bills 23, Jets 20.
Oh, so the same score as week 6.
Yeah, the same score as week 6.
And also, just a quick note on that game, too, from back in October. James Cook did not play for whatever means.
I believe Shakir was out, too.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but I know at least Cook was out. And, I mean, James Cook has single-handedly won this team games before. Yeah. So if he's playing and, everything still means something, maybe he takes over. Who knows?
Yeah, especially if, like, a guy like, say, Quinn Williams is out still for the Jets.
Yep.
On that D-line.
And CBS just announced their game announcers 5 minutes ago.
Oh,
I guess who's going to Buffalo?
Spiro Dides.
No,
Brady?
Jim Nance, Tony Romo.
Why are they sending the
Tracy
A crew?
Jesus.
Yep.
You know why? Because CBS is getting
Josh
screwed on their games.
That's actually, yeah.
because of between Amazon and everybody else, it seems like CBS is.
I forgot about that when I was looking at the schedule for Week 17. I saw what I can only describe to be the true sicko matchup of the year: Jags at Titans.
Yeah. Well, CBS is getting crap games. This might be the best game CBS has.
That's true.
Which is saying something.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's why I was like saying, like, they gotta be sending like the C crew for this game at least. Like, nope. Oh wow, that's
shocking.
Welcome back, Jim and Tony, to Orchard Park, I guess.
Yep.
I mean, they seem to love it.
And quick note, I guess, on the broadcast crew, the Kevin Harlan crew will be calling the Broncos-Bengals game on Saturday, so they're not available for a Sunday's game. So I guess that impacts everything.
That's
Spiro is doing the Jags-Titans.
Yeah,
And Ian Eagle is doing the Bucks game, Panthers.
Ian Eagle, who's been interviewed in the studio.
He has?
No, that was Noah.
Yeah, that was a song, yeah.
Yeah,
I know, that's weird, because Fox had Joe Davis and Greg Olson do Saturday and yesterday.
Yeah, I don't
know if that's just because it was Baltimore and then down to, DC.
Yeah, it might be travel. Who knows? But yeah, if you like game announcers, you want to know, there's your announcer report, I guess you could say.
Love it. Hey, some people really care about that, And I can't say sometimes I blame them.
No, it's very interesting to me how the whole media landscape plays out, and it's just got a lot more confusing since Amazon Prime got into the. Yeah. If you remember Amazon Prime, the first year they had the worst game of the week. It seemed every week on Thursday night. So then they were like, "Hey, this doesn't work," and so then they started getting some of the best games of the week throughout the season.
Yeah. Or at the very least, I know that what they did, especially the first half of the year, and now a little bit now too, but they made sure that it was at least divisional matchups.
Yes, a lot of them.
It may not have been great football per se, but it had impact for each division.
And NBC's got Sunday Night Football, which is arguably the biggest game of the week, even bigger than Monday Night Football. And then you got Monday Night Football on ABC, ESPN, and then you got CBS, kind of picking up the scraps every week, it seems like.
Yeah, it's been a rough year for that AFC contract. NFC's been, I think, much better in terms of getting your pick, quote unquote, of better games, but hey, that's the way it shakes out in sports. I mean, it's each league a little bit different every year. So I think that about does it, though, for the podcast today, gentlemen. Normal schedule next week for the podcast.
We're back Monday.
But before we get there, Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas to you guys.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
For us, we'll be, I'm sure, friends, family, and I don't know.
Bills football.
I don't know even who the hell's even. I know Netflix is doing the games Christmas. Who the hell's even announcing? I know they announced the people, but it's who's doing what? Is confusing as hell.
Kyle's gonna find out before we sign off.
Yeah, I've noticed they have Kay Adams coming on some.
It was
podcasts.
40 people I saw listed.
Yeah, exactly. So Chiefs at Steelers is going to be Ian Eagle, J.J. Watt, and Nate Burleson.
Oh.
Ravens at Texans is going to be Noah Eagle and Greg Olson. And then they're going to have, I guess, sideline reporters. Maybe Kay Adams is one of them, or is she on this pregame show or something.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but you're right. They have tons of people coming on that broadcast.
Crazy. I don't know. I don't know how well those pairings are going to do. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Well, a lot of people who are at older relatives' homes aren't going to have Netflix.
Yeah, that's true. Although I don't know, we do Christmas Day at our house pretty much now with just us. So I don't know. Either way, we'll be back at it though again next Monday, 10 a.m.
Hey, I got another quick note.
Go ahead.
On Christmas. Don't forget to tune into the halftime show
Wait, what?
for the Ravens-Texans game. Your favorite, Beyonce, will be performing live on Netflix.
Wow.
I mean, I don't really care as long as it's better than the Tyson and Jake Paul fight production that we got. So.
Yeah, that's another note too. Are we going to get a lot of freezes again? How bad is the broadcasting going to be?
Yeah.
Are people going to even be able to watch the game?
I feel that Netflix will have eliminated the streaming issues. It's just too big a stage for them to screw up.
Yeah. And if it is buffering, what I did, and I think what a lot of people end up doing was just...
Turn it off, go in the other room.
Well, right, but just kind of set the stream back a couple minutes, and you won't have any issues at that point. But
so it's not like live.
Yeah,
it's no fun for live betting.
No, I mean, I know, I'm just trying to help out.
Last show of 2025 next, or 2024 next Monday.
Yes.
And then it's on
2025 for sure.
We're getting close to the playoffs.
Yep.
Where,
So
that's where you just want to get to the playoffs. Like, only bad things can happen these last 2 stupid weeks.
It's true.
Unless the Chiefs want to help us.
I don't disagree in many aspects. So back at it again, 10 a.m. next Monday for what we hope to be another victory Monday for the Buffalo Bills. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays. Appreciate everybody for tuning in and listening. Like, share, and subscribe on the fingerlakes1.com YouTube channel and all major podcasting platforms, including Spotify and Amazon Music. Back again next Monday. Let's go, Buffalo.